On this episode of Walk a Mile in Their Shoes, we are at the Dimple Dell Park in Sandy, Utah, and our guest today will be Dennis Sehy.
My name is Dennis Sehy. I'm a school psychologist for Granite School District. I started in 1979, and I came out here and lived in married student housing. Actually, my wife went to school to become a nurse practitioner. So that's how I started in Granite School District. My hobbies have always been sports. I guess that's not a hobby, but I played basketball and baseball. And but my hobby out here was riding horses in the mountains around here in the high Uintas and the Stansbury Mountains mainly. But I played sports until I was 55. I played county rec, and I played softball, volleyball, and basketball. So that's kind of what I did with my off time, and we traveled quite a bit. I have two kids. One is a social worker in Granite School District, and the other one is in finance. So that's my introduction, and I'd like you to take a walk with me for about a mile, and we'll talk a little bit more about my profession.
Hey, Dennis.
Hey, how you doing?
Good to
Jared?
see you. Good
You
to see
too.
you again. Thank you so much for being available to talk tonight and walk in this beautiful country we have in front of us. This is just incredible.
Yeah, it's a nice night too.
Yeah, it's one of the coolest nights we've had in months.
Yeah,
So.
it's been very hot at night, even at 10 o'clock.
Oh, it's so nice.
Yeah.
It's nice. Well, let's go ahead and get started on our mile. I always like to keep track of how far we've gone just to keep us on track here.
Okay.
And so, I wanted to ask you, you've been a school psychologist for 46 years.
Yeah.
I'm in awe and I stagger at the amount of years you've put in. So my first question to you is, what makes you stick at that so long?
Oh, I have a theory about that, Jared. What it is for me is I feel like everybody is a product of their childhood, and it affects our attitudes, our feelings, our behavior as we're growing up in a family. And some kids have very difficult childhoods, and some kids have very good childhoods.
Yeah.
But it still follows you, and it really has a lot of influence on what you do in the future. And so I feel like if I can talk to kids at this age who are having very difficult childhoods, somehow I can show them either how they can overcome the difficulties in their childhood, or at least help them, support them, and let them know that I'm a person who can support them in their growth and any change they want to make. So that's how I look at it, because kids will process this. They will process things that happen in their life for the rest of their life. And some of them will try to make very good changes, and some kids will kind of follow in the footsteps of maybe making poor decisions that their parents made. And so I'm just trying to point kids in the right direction.
Yeah. Sounds like you love it so much, obviously.
That's the only thing that keeps me going. You know me, I'm not real big on the social or the computer, even though I can do the computer now. That's something that, it's not my favorite thing to do. So my favorite thing to do is to see kids. I don't know if too many people know this, but I didn't start out in school psychology. I started out in clinical psychology.
Okay.
And I got a master's degree in clinical psychology, and actually got a job working for a county mental health center. And I did that for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And what I did is I interviewed everybody that came in with a structured interview. And then I also had a caseload of children and adolescents. But all the people that I interviewed, we had a meeting every week with a psychiatrist and an adult therapist and another child therapist. And I would discuss the interview, and then we'd assign them who they were going to work with.
Yeah.
And so I had that background. And the reason why I went into school psych to get a PhD is I thought this will give me more choices if I want to teach college, or it'll give you more choices as far as the kind of employment you would have too. So it was very difficult for me to get that first job in clinical because everybody I interviewed with said they wanted somebody with experience. So it's a little different. And at that time, they were hiring a lot of school psychologists. They were very much wanted in the schools at that time. So that's kind of what drove me to school psych. And so when I moved out here, we moved out here because my wife was accepted at the University of Utah in the nurse practitioner program. And we lived at married student housing. My daughter was 11 months old. And I just thought we'd be out here 2 years.
Oh, wow.
And I had a construction job lined up because we got here in September.
Wow.
But then just so happened, I looked in the yellow pages and I saw the school districts and I called Davis and Granite, and both of them had one position open. So I interviewed for both of those at both those school districts. And Granite, well, they both were going to hire me, but Granite seemed to be the best fit. So that's what happened. I got out here on September 9th, and I started work October 3rd, and I never even came out here beforehand. So I was just pure luck. Pure luck in that.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So, you kind of took us back in time 46 years ago, and you've told us a little bit about what you do now. I'm curious kind of what has changed in the profession of school psychology. Like what are the big issues you encounter with students, and how are things different from say 46 years ago?
Well, first of all, 46 years ago when I started, almost everybody wore a suit. I'd say for the first 15, 16 years, we wore a suit to school because they wanted us to look professional. And we did all the testing. Resource teachers didn't do any testing. And we were the ones who pretty much decided the special ed placement. So we had quite a bit of power back then. And so as time went on, of course, the ties came off, and then we just wore sports jackets and a nice shirt. And then, of course, now it's very casual. Even the teachers are very casual. And so resource teachers do quite a bit of the testing, but here's the problem. It's not a problem. They can do the testing, but they can't do the interpretation like we can. And that's why we're needed to explain the nuances of the testing to parents. And so, and then as time went on, we became what they call more doing consultation with teachers. I remember writing up a lot of behavior plans for kids, especially when I was in elementaries. We did a lot of evaluations, but we also did a lot of consultation with teachers and parents. And so secondary is a different animal, and that's where you're at, and that's where I'm at. They really want you to do the evaluations, but since there's not many, they want you to see kids in a counseling role. And so I see that as a big change. When I ask these interns in school psychology, of course you learn all the tests to give and all the stat classes and everything. And I say, well, how many counseling classes did you have? And most of them just say one. And that's why I think the social workers are really gaining ground on us. Because that's what they want, especially when the pandemic came about. All of a sudden it was mental health. And it was like the social workers, that's their ball game. Well, I felt like in my position, I could do anything a social worker could do, but that didn't cover everybody. And so the social workers, I think, gained a lot of ground. And since now they have more social workers than psychologists, we have a little bit of a lesser role in that.
Mm.
And I don't know how it's gonna pan out, but here's the thing too, but between 2012 and 2015, you know, that's when a lot of the phones and social media. Now, when I was growing up, or even before kids were born in 1996, it was more outside playing, you know, and do sports and exercise. After, it seems like kids born after 1996 and thereafter, it was like a phone childhood. Everybody's on their phone. Right now, they're saying that the average time that kids are on their phone is 5 hours. You know, and that doesn't include homework and things. So it takes time away from doing sports or being outside. And when you're texting, that's kind of superficial relationship. Really, you got to spend time with kids before you can have a good, deep conversation about feelings and things and about your families and things. So I think kids are really missing that now, and I think people are starting to realize it. So I hope we can make some positive changes, you know, about what year, you know, how old kids need to be before you give them a phone. Because I'll tell you what I've seen. I've seen basically these phones, I feel like are dopamine, you know, dopamine devices, because they get on the phones and they get something that it's a dopamine high kind of thing. And these engineers have really got to the point where they got these kids addicted to their phones. And even adults are somewhat addicted. Now there's some kids who have sports and handle it pretty well, but there's a lot of them who don't. And that concerns me. And so the other thing I'm concerned about is AI coming. Because right now, you have these kids addicted. And I'll tell you what happens with a lot of these kids that I see that are on these phones. They get addicted to that dopamine hit, and they're using all the social medias. And for a lot of these kids, it's leading right into pornography. And I'm seeing a lot of kids getting hooked on it. And I just think that's really detrimental to their adolescent brain. Because your adolescent brain is growing at the second fastest rate to a child that's from 0 to 5. So from 13 to 19, that's the second fastest. And kids with adolescent brain, they can get very addicted. So I think these phones have somewhat rewired our brains, or our adolescent and children's brains. And I think that's what we got to recognize and turn back. And AI scares me because the phones have done this, so we have short attention spans, and we're used to clicks and all this kind of thing, where it's you get so many you know, positive. What do they call those when you get a positive response? They call them I forget. They're getting more hits than other kids, and so they compare themselves likes. So they're comparing themselves to other kids, and if they're not getting the likes, that's why in the literature we're seeing a lot more depression and anxiety in kids, especially the ones that have been born after 1996. And I think AI is just going to speed all this up, because now the algorithms are going to dream up things that keep you addicted. That's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of challenges and things that we do have to watch out for, safeguard. You know, there's a lot of good that comes from these things, but like anything, whether it's good or negative, like if too much of something is detrimental to our development, our brains, and how things are wired. And
and let me make that distinction. If a child gets on a YouTube and watches somebody fix something or do something and keep his focus on there, that's great. If they're watching a screen to learn how to do something. It's just this other stuff that's kind of got me a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, even TV, if they're watching a documentary or a program and they can keep their attention on it and learn from it, I think that's great. So it's not all screens. It's just that right now these phones are like little computers, and they're very addictive. I'm surprised that it's taken this long for us to. Oh, I think we could just, if we could just eliminate phones from the school, I think we'd be much better. The schools that have done it have found some real increases of kids interacting. And, you know, they've even taken kids to camps and they had to leave their phones. I just read some of these studies, had to leave their phones, and they were so upset about it. They got out in some kind of an area like this in the forest, and pretty soon they were interacting more with each other, doing more things together, talking to each other more. And they said, God, is one of the best experiences they've had.
They're connecting at that more physical level. Definitely things we have to watch out for, safeguard, keep within balance.
Exactly. And I've seen this even in my grandkids. My kids didn't get phones that quick because it didn't come out, but my grandkids, oh boy, I've seen them really get addicted to them. They're starting to realize it now, though, and hopefully they can do something about it.
Well, you know, over 46 years, you've seen a lot of, you know, as you've been talking about, a lot of changes with children and youth. You know, I'm curious, what have been some positive things that you have learned from children over this big span of time that you've been working with them?
I think the biggest thing I've learned is at this age, when you're dealing with kids, how formidable they are. You can still make some great changes for them that will carry on through their life. Whereas my theory is when somebody reaches 55, it's always hard to, I knew this from doing counseling. It's really hard to change them. It's very difficult. They got to really want to. But kids, you know, especially in school, if you have good role models, you know, they can start to see that, boy, this person sure treats me different than my dad or my mom, who may be very abusive. So,
that's so true. Well, Dennis, we're actually about halfway through this mile. And I wanted to ask you about a little bit more about your personal life. You know, a big part of why I do these interviews is to give people out there who may be watching some ideas for how to handle their mental health. And so I wanted to ask you, what are some things that you do day to day to keep your mental health strong?
Well, right now at my age, I have about a 3.5 mile walk that I walk quite a bit. It's both up and down. And so I still try, and I go to the spa, so I still try to exercise. I try to get enough sleep. And I am very much little social. I don't know social media at all, to be honest with you. The only thing I do know is I know how to work email. And that's kind of what I stick with. A lot of these things that they come up with, I've never seen a TikTok video. I've never seen Instagram. I don't know how that works. So I just pretty much have stayed away from that. I like to be out in nature. And I just want a balance between physical and mental. That's why when I first came here, every summer I bought some apartments and I would work on them all through the summer. I built an apartment in a basement of one of my buildings. I had 4 triplexes. And so I had to roof them, and I do cement work. I had to paint. I had to replace carpet. I had to replace linoleum. I had to put in new sinks, new cupboards. And so that was really healthy.
Wow. So to me, it sounds like you're saying to keep things simple.
Right.
And that helps with your mental health.
Right.
And
I think you need some good outlets. I think it's good to have a good support system. So you can have some good friendships that you can rely on. That's that's the other thing, you know, these kids, sometimes, you know, they know kids are acquaintances, but some of them have great friends, and then some of them don't have any.
Yeah.
And that's really, really, you know, difficult for them. And I can see why they get on the, you know, the talking to people in other countries or whatever through the internet, because that's their only chance to do it.
Yeah.
So, but we need that physical. And that's okay to be on Zoom, but we need the physical touch.
Yes.
We need to share food. We need to share stories.
Yes.
We need to share experiences with people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of my very best friends are the ones I started first grade with, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, I still keep in touch with them.
Still keep in touch with them. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, my very best friend, when I said, he said, "Are you going to be moving back to Illinois?" And I says, "Well, I got this job out here." I said, "I think I'm going to stay out here for a while." And so he sold his farm and moved to Grantsville and bought 10 acres. And that's where we had our horses. We had our horses together. And at one time we had 12 horses.
Oh, wow.
Some of them we got that were Mustangs. We adopted them. You always want to get a very young one. Yeah. Because they're hard to break. Yeah. Yeah, it takes some time. Yeah. Wow. That really got me out of my head. Riding a horse in the mountains, you're right in the moment. You're not thinking of anything past, anything in the future. All you're thinking of is this horse going to be scared of something that's going to jump out coming up here, or what's going to happen. Yes. So it keeps you right in the moment. Yeah. How long have you been riding horses? Oh, I've been riding horses since I was about 8. Yeah, I started out riding a Shetland pony. And this guy that lives in Grantsville, he had a pony cart, and that's how he did his paper route. And I had my own paper route, but sometimes I'd just get finished mine and then hop on with him. He'd drive the pony and I'd throw the papers. It was just kind of fun. So that's before we were, you know, we were only about 12, 13. You know, we'd take that pony cart through town. Then he had a surrey, like you'd see in a museum. Yeah. You know, I mean, a real surrey. And we used to give girls rides. We were pretty popular back then. Yeah. But what happened the day he was turned 16, he drove up in a car. So he was ready to move on, but we never did move away from riding. Oh yeah. Wow. That's awesome. What a great hobby, pastime that you've had for pretty much all your life almost. That's so neat. Yeah. One other thing I wanted to ask you, Dennis, that's important for me to always ask on an interview like this is thinking back to a time in your life when your own mental health was really challenged, and you really had to dig deep inside and use a lot of these kind of big strategies to help yourself through it. I was wondering if you'd be willing to share a time when you really had to dig deep through a mental health challenge. I'll tell you. Yeah, right. When I worked for the County Mental Health Center, now this is 73 to 76, and people would come in at that time, there was this thing that, well, if you have to go see a psychologist, you must be a little crazy. And so that was the mentality. Yeah. And so a lot of times people would wait too long, and they would be pretty sick by the time I would even interview them. Yeah. And I can remember a couple of people even having delusions right in front of me. Yeah. And so I was 23 years old, and I have to admit that really set me back on my heels. I didn't know if I was going to be able to do the job, to be honest with you. There was times when, because everything I did in my life up until that point, I'd been fairly successful. I was in sports and school and everything. And all of a sudden, I'm dealing with somebody that we're trying to, and I took it on personally. That's the problem. I took it on personally, and my clinical director, he came into my office and said, "Dennis, everything you hear in here, don't take it home, because that's what's going to make you sick." Yeah. And so there are a few times, though, when I saw some people who were very sick. I'm talking like schizophrenic, and saying things that I wasn't used to hearing. And I was just thinking, oh my God, I am so overwhelmed with how to deal with you at this point. I just wonder if I can do my job. So for a while there, I was, you know, it was very tentative. I can remember being anxious a lot because I just thought, oh my gosh, this is something I don't know if I can, you know, do this. But I was, at that time, I was expecting too much. I thought, here, I got out of graduate school. I did all this studying. You know, I ought to be able to help anybody. It's not quite that easy.
No.
Yeah. So the 20s, when I was in my 20s, that's when I was the most anxious because I just started this career and I just got married. I got married when I was 23. And so, you know, there was just, we were just getting by. And so, and county mental health didn't pay very well at all. My first job was $8,300 a year.
Wow. Wow.
And we were renting a basement apartment for $90.
Man, oh man.
That was the only thing that saved us.
Wow.
The lady had a beauty shop down there, and then we had this little apartment that was real small, and we didn't even have a bathroom. We had to use the one in the beauty parlor. But we did have a little shower. Yeah. So everything was miniature in there. Yeah. But you know, I loved it for some reason. I was duly married. I was a pretty happy guy, actually. There wasn't anything about it. Of course, I grew up with a big family. I shared a bedroom with 4 of the brothers. So, you know, you kind of get used to not everything's not about you. When you're growing up with 6 other kids, you know, it's all about, hey, I need all of you to help me. We all had chores. My parents were pretty sticklers on that. So we didn't even have a dryer the whole time I grew up. We hung everything in the basement or outside, depending on the weather. So I think what happened is I learned a really strong work ethic, and that's probably why I'm still working, to be honest with you, because I don't know what better. I can't think of anything better to do. If I could, I'd be doing it. Believe me.
There's nothing better than being a school psychologist. We all know.
Yeah, right? It's a pretty good. I tell you what, and working half-time is a lot easier than working full-time. I can remember being in your shoes, having 2 kids, and my wife and me working, and I'd come home, boy, Friday afternoons, I was exhausted. You know?
You know, you mentioned, like, you know, not taking that work home with you, and so many people struggle with that. What was your secret to being able to just sort of leave that work there and be at home without it?
Well, I think the secret was there was a few sessions that I got so anxious that I had to leave. I made an excuse saying, hey, I got to go to the bathroom or something. And that's when I just felt overwhelmed with what this person was telling me. And I just felt so inadequate in what I could do for them. And I was just so nervous, and I just thought to myself, I can't keep doing this. I got to do something different, you know? And so I just kind of did a change in my brain. I'm just going to get all this information. It's not that I'm not the one that's going to be their main therapist. I got to recognize that, because some of these people, I'd interview them and they would say, well, I want you to be my therapist, because, you know, you're the first one they've seen and talked to quite a bit. And they've told all their problems to you already. And I thought, oh boy, no, I can't do that. So anyway, you gradually get a little more used to it. It's just like when I started the school psych job, I was still young, and I can remember parent conferences would kind of make me a little nervous. You know, testing kids was no problem, being with kids was no problem. But then when the parents come in and I have to be in front of everybody on the team and explain everything, the first couple of years I was a little bit anxious. And so I think it's just, you just kind of learn to you know, you just kind of learn to get over that.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
sounds like you recognized your
Yeah.
limits as to what you were okay with and what you were capable of.
Right,
And
right.
so
You
that's
have,
really important.
yeah, and that was hard for me because I really thought I could handle anything. And that's what my clinical director said to me.
Yeah.
He was a minister and a clinical psychologist. And he said, Dennis, he says, you want to take all these clients. He says, and you know, you're just not ready for this.
Mm,
You don't know what you're getting yourself into. He actually
Yeah.
told me that. So he helped me out a lot.
yeah.
He's the one that kind of, because I was always chomping at the bit to show everybody I could do all this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, oh boy, was I ever in the wrong track.
Mm,
Yeah. So he helped me quite a bit.
That's great. I love
And
it.
he was like 52.
Uh-huh.
And so when I was 23, we became very close, actually.
Yeah.
We went up to a couple conferences in Springfield, Illinois on medications and things. That's what got me interested in medications.
Mm,
And then, of course, my wife she was a psychiatric nurse practitioner. So
uh-huh.
I went to a couple conferences with her, and I still have a lot of interest in medications. And if kids can tell me what medication they're on, I know exactly what they're trying to do.
Mm,
And that's real helpful.
that's awesome. I love that. Well, Dennis, we're right near the end of our mile here. And so another question that I like to ask everybody on these types of interviews, and it's not even necessarily a question, it's more of an invitation. I want you to take a second to think of maybe that one person who might be watching right now who's really struggling with their own mental health. And maybe they're right on the verge of just calling it quits. I was hoping you would be willing to address that individual and provide some of the wisdom that you have.
Well, I've had individuals like that come to me, and they were forced to come by their parents. And this even when I was working in the county mental health. Mm-hmm. And what I would typically say is, because they'd always have kind of a skewed idea of why they were there, you know, like it was either a punishment or everybody thinks I'm crazy. Mm-hmm. And basically I would just say, you know, I'm here for you. I want to help you. And let's just try a session. And if you don't like it, then you don't have to be here. But if you like it, then we'll just proceed. So I wouldn't try to talk them out of it. I would just try to say, well, are you willing to try a session? Mm-hmm. And during that session, I just try to make them real comfortable. Because here's what I've learned. You can't do anything unless you establish rapport with somebody. Mm-hmm. And you have to establish enough rapport where they start to trust you to tell you anything. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I go for all the time now. In my first few sessions, I tell them about the confidentiality, mm-hmm. how I am here. I want to make their life, I want to see them have a decent life. Mm-hmm. And once I say I'm here for you, that you can just tell on their face, their expression changes. Mm-hmm. Like I want to make sure you don't think I'm a principal that's going to be, you know, judging you or giving you some kind of consequence for your behavior. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I try to do, establish rapport and trust. And then that's really gets you going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that idea of just try this one thing.
Right.
And if somebody's really struggling, maybe just try this one person to talk to, or this one session, or, you know, whatever. Just keep trying that one thing.
Exactly.
So you can keep going.
Exactly. And every time I did that, at the end, they would say, well, yeah, I'll come back, you know. Mm-hmm. And so it does take a little bit of, because so many people have misconceptions mm-hmm. of what it's going to be, you know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that, and being able to walk with you for this mile is a great honor for me. 46 years of wisdom as a school psychologist. I just, I bow down to everything that you present and share with me.
Well, Jared, I'll tell you, when I was at Hunter High School by myself, and back in those days, we had to do evaluations every 3 years, no matter what grade they were in.
Yeah.
Of course, when you came, it wasn't quite like that. But mm-hmm. when they said, Dennis, we want you to talk to kids and we're going to bring on this Jared Benoit, and he can do some testing. And I welcomed you with open arms, man.
Yes, yes.
So that was a big help, because I didn't have a social worker then.
Yes, that's right.
And so I was actually getting, for like 6-7 years straight, 250 referrals a year.
Wow.
And it was just, I was always playing catch up.
Yes. Yes.
So,
and then you retired temporarily, and I just took it from there.
That's right. That's right.
And so,
yeah, they say once you leave that school, Dennis, you're never going to see it again. Somebody's going to grab that up immediately.
Yes.
Which I had no idea.
Walking proof, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and they're what, their 35-year history. They've had 2 of us.
That's right. You're not the only one that likes secondary. And you can be replaced like in 10 seconds.
That's true. I realize that. Yes,
yeah. All right.
yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've come to the end here, and so I wanted to thank you, Dennis. I appreciate all your wisdom and everything. That it was a great honor to
well, Jared, one thing I noticed about you, you're about one of the most positive people I've been around, and that's going to take you a long way.
Oh,
Just that quality.
I appreciate that a lot. Thanks, Dennis.
Yeah.